Good day, everyone. So, welcome to our personal development class. And we are now in week 5. And week 5 will focus on lessons 9, which is causes and effects of stress in one's life. And lesson 10, coping with stress. Okay, so let's begin. Yan. So for our review, so last week, no, we were able to discuss self-development, which is more of responsibility as one of your tasks, no, in your adolescent stage. And we were able to begin discussing stress and mental health. Okay, so to continue our discussion, so let's have muna our objectives. So for our objectives, no, after going through this module, you are expected to, number one, enumerate the sources of your stress. Number two, determine the effects of stress. Number three, define stress management. And for the last, list ways on how you to face the different causes and effects of stress. Okay. Ayan. So for our activity, I have here a breathing exercise and I want you to try doing this. But before I play the video, I want you to feel relaxed. And by feeling relaxed, I want you to sit properly. Ayan. So, hanap kayo ng komportableng pwesto na mauupuan wherein yung kamay mo, yung paa mo ay relax lang. Okay? So if you're ready, so let us follow the video wherein gagawin natin yung box breathing. Okay? So let's begin. Okay, so thank you so much. How was the feeling? Sige, let's process our activity. Okay, so for our processing, so I want you to answer questions here so that we could tell kung mayroon bang effect yung ginawa nating box breathing. Okay, so for question number 1, what did you feel before the activity? So bago yung activity, anong naramdaman mo? Anyone from the group? Thank you. Next, what did you feel during the activity? So habang ginagawa mo yung activity, ano yung nararamdaman mo? Okay, anyone from the group? Okay, next. How did you feel after nung matapos na? After the activity, ano ang naramdaman mo? Thank you. And last, how box breathing help improve your mind and body? So with that activity, paano nakatulong ang box breathing para ma-improve ang iyong pag-iisip at ang iyong katawan? Anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you so much for your participation at the same time in answering our processing questions. So moving on. Ayan. So let's recall muna uli, what do we mean by stress? So last week, we were able to discuss stress. So when we say stress, it is a simple reaction to an input. So ito yung tinatawag natin, stimulus, that disturbs our physical and mental balance. And it is ever present in everyone's life in various situations and activities. Ito nga daw yung hindi natin pwedeng takasan, hindi natin pwedeng i-delete sa ating buhay. So stress is part of our lives. And yan, always remember, different people have different stresses. So depende po sa tao, kung ano yung stress na po pwede niyang ma-imbibe o ma-encounter sa araw-araw niyang pamumuhay. Okay, so let's move on. Ayan. So I have here common causes of stress of students. So I want you to go over with the list, and I want you to pick one cause of stress, or 2 or 3 causes of your stress. Yan, you can tell us kung ano-ano yung mga causes ng stress mo, and tell us why, as well. Bakit, sa tingin mo yan yung nagiging causes ng stress mo. Okay? So anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you so much. So moving on. Ayan. So according to Lazarus, we have 2 types of stress. The eustress and the distress. Okay, so let's define the 2 types. When we say eustress, it is positive stress or good stress. Ito yung napag-usapan natin last week, na yung mga good events, yung mga positive events, like halimbawa nanalo ka sa loto. So pwede siyang ma-categorize as eustress. Wherein this type of stress can motivate someone to regain enthusiasm in their endeavor, and it can give excitement to revitalize performance. So ito yung mas nagiging motivation natin to go on, or to fulfill yung mga gusto nating gawin. Okay? And on the other hand naman, when we say distress, yan, these are negative stress or bad stress. So ito yung mga events na talaga namang sumasakit yung ulo nyo, wherein, saan nagmumula ito? Okay, from the negative situations, yung mga minsan na hindi natin inaakalang mangyayari, Kaya nakakapagbigay sila ng distress. So remember the 2 types of stress, eustress and distress. When we say eustress, it is a positive stress, and when we say distress, it is negative stress. Okay, so moving on. Yan. So again, I have here different causes of good stress. So sabi nga natin, when we say good stress or eustress, it is the type of stress you feel when you are excited. So your hormone surge high and your pulse quickens. Yan. So may mga physical reactions na nangyayari kahit na eustress siya. So I want you to, again, pick an example of good stresses in your life, and tell us bakit mo siya kinakategorize as good stress. Okay? Anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you so much. Moving on. Ayan. So this time naman, I have here naman several causes of bad stress. So again, when we say bad stress or distress, so this chronic stress is the response to emotions that bring pressure to an individual wherein they think that they have little or no control on the situation. So these stresses may cause anxiety. Ito yung wala na tayong magawa kundi mas stress. Okay. So for my instruction, ganun din. I want you to pick one cause of your bad stress. So ano yung sa tingin mong malimit na nagkukos sa'yo ng distress and tell us why. Okay? Anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you so much for your sharing. So moving on. Ayan. So let's discuss naman different factors that causes stress among students. Ayan. So, upon identifying the different causes of bad and good stresses, so this time naman, let's check the different factors naman that cause stress among you students. Okay. Number one is environmental factors. So, when we say environmental, it means ito yung nanggagaling sa paligid mo. So occur when an event or stimulus requires us to change in some way that makes a change in living environment, a stressful experience. So pag may nangyari sa paligid natin, nagkaroon ng pagbabago at hindi tayo handa, yan. So pwede tayong ma-stress at ang tawag dyan ay environmental factor. Next, academic factor naman. So these are your responsibilities related to work in school or class workload. O ayan, yung mga learners activity sheets na nagpapatong-patong na. So pwede siyang pumasok sa academic factor na nagkukos ng ating stress. Next, physical factor. So these naman are health issues which are the concern of everyone because bad health causes a lot of damage to the life of a person. So stress can lead to physical symptoms. So ayan, so ano yung mga pwede nyong maramdaman? Headache, upset stomach, elevated blood pressure, chest pain, and problems in sleeping. Ayan, ako ang physical factor sa akin pag na-stress ako yung upset stomach, ayan, at saka yung hindi ako makatulog, problems sleeping. Okay, and the last factor is emotional factors, wherein these are emotional problems like what? Depression, anxiety, anger, grief, guilt, low self-esteem. Okay. And ano yung mga example na to? Taking care of an elderly or sick family member, 'di ba kapag tayo ay nag-aalaga ng may sakit, nakaka-add din 'yun ng emotional stress sa atin, or it can be a traumatic event. So this may lead to chronic disease if not properly handled. And that is very true. Kapag hindi natin na-handle ang ating mga emotional problems, pwede tayo magkaroon ng chronic or malalang mga sakit. Okay? So tandaan nyo, what are the different factors that causes stress? The environmental, the academic, physical, and emotional factors. Okay? So moving on. Ayan. So what about effects of stress? Ayan. So yung epekto naman ng pag-usapan natin. Sabi nga, whether good or bad stress, both may result into developing good or bad effects. So ganun din pala. So yung effect niya, it can be good or it can be bad one. Okay? And too much stress can affect your mood, behavior, action, performance, and even your relationship. So ayan, so dapat pala we are always aware of our stresses in life kasi hindi mo na alam baka naaapektuhan na even your relationship. Okay, so moving on. Ayan. I have here naman good effects of positive stress. So I have here 12 effects. So ganun din ang gagawin nyo. I want you to pick one effect that is applicable to you and tell us why. Okay? Anyone from the group? Okay, thank you. So moving on. Ayan. So this time naman, we have here no list of bad effects of negative stress. Okay. So ganun uli. Pili kayo ng isa and tell us bakit siya naging bad effect for you. Anyone from the group? Okay. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Moving on. Yan. So this time naman, we have here several signs no, that a teen or adolescent is suffering from stress. O, sige, since na-identify niyo na yung mga causes at mga factors ng stresses ninyo, this time naman, no, tingnan naman natin, let us identify the signs na kung saan na you are already suffering from stress. So I want you to go over with the list again and tell us, sa tingin nyo, alin dyan ang nagiging sign, no, na you are already stressed or you are already suffering from stress, and tell us why. Okay? Anyone from the group? Okay? So thank you so much. Moving on. Ayan. So, kayo ba yung tao na kapag nai-stress na, sinusulatan nyo rin siya? Katulad dito, Dear Stress, let's break up. Love me. O, di ba? Kasi kapag talagang sobra na yung problem, sobra na yung stress, parang gusto mong ano na, no? Kumawala na doon no sa sitwasyon na iyon. So my question is, how do you cope with stress? So paano kayo? What are the ways that you are doing no for you to cope with stress? Anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you for your answer. So let's proceed to our next topic. Okay, so let's define coping. So kanina nga, no, tinanong ko kayo kung paano kayo nagko-cope. So papasok na tayo sa ano, no, stress management na tinatawag. Okay, so let's define muna coping. When we say coping, no, it refers to mental and behavioral efforts, no, that we use to deal with problems relating to stress, including its presumed cause and the unpleasant feelings and emotion it produces. So ito yung mga effort daw na ginagawa natin, no, to deal with the stresses in life. And in coping with stress, no, we are using all aspects of ourselves to deal with both the causes of stress and their impacts on our emotions that can make us feel uneasy or uncomfortable. So gagamitin mo rin yung lahat ng aspects, mental, physical, emotional, social, and even yung spiritual. So lahat yan gagamitin natin no, for us to cope with stress. Okay, so I want you to remember this mga anak. Stress will not disappear when we do nothing about it. So pag wala kang ginagawa no, to address, no, ay wala pong mangyayari na pagkawala din ng stress, 'di ba? Nandiyan pa rin siya sa iyong paligid at patuloy kang maapektuhan kung wala kang gawin. Okay? So moving on. Ayan. So let's have the different approaches in coping with stress. So tingnan natin, baka mamaya isa sa mga approach dito ay ginagawa mo na pala. Okay. So let's have the avoidance approach. So when we say avoidance approach, no, people tend to run away from stress daw by denying the presence of stress and by distancing from the cause of stress or stressor. So avoidance, iiwasan, no? Kaya nga running away. So ganyan ba kayo? Kapag may stress, may problema, tinatakasan nyo, you are running away. But sometimes, no, this approach is applicable in some rin po, problems. Like for example, you want to avoid the person who has hurt you badly because it will remind you again of the past pain. So, kaya naman mo siya iniiwasan para hindi mo na maalala yung naging problema mo o yung pain na naramdaman mo no during that time na kasama mo siya. So yun yung avoidance approach. But for me, this avoidance approach ay temporary lang. Hindi po pwedeng palagi mong iiwasan yung tao kasi magkukrus at magkukrus din yung landas ninyo. But for temporary way no in coping with stress, so this is no applicable yung avoidance approach. Okay? Next. What about naman acceptance, action, approach. Ayan. So this time naman, you acknowledge and accept the fact that stress is real and that stress has good and bad effects to a person. So this would lead you to take action, to feel better, or to resolve stress and have healthy life. So dealing with stress leads to finding better solutions. So eto naman no, with open arms tatanggapin mo and you acknowledge na oo nga, no? Stress is real. Stress is nandito na, nararamdaman ko. At ang pinakamaganda doon ay you are what? Taking actions. Maghahanap ka ng solusyon at gagawa ka ng paraan, no? Para matugunan at ma-address yung stress na nararamdaman mo. So anong example natin? You know that you have an upcoming test. So alam mo namang may darating at yun ay talagang pwede siyang mag-cause ng stress. So for you to pass or get high grade no for that test, you have to exert some efforts like studying or reviewing. So gagawa ka na ng solusyon, gagawa ka na ng paraan para ma-lessen or ma-eradicate na si stress. So ang tawag diyan ay acceptance action approach. Okay, so next. Ayan, so dalawa lang sila. Okay, avoidance and accept action approach. So this time naman, so alam nyo na yung mga dalawang approaches. For your own, ayan, no? Ayan, interpretation o kaya naman your own ways. So how do you cope with stress? Yan. Sa tingin mo, paano ka nagko-cope? Ikaw ba yung nag-avoidance no? Approach o ikaw ba yung nag-acceptance action approach? Anyone from the group? Okay, thank you so much for your answer. Yan. So I think this is the last topic for our discussion. So we have here ways on how to cope with stress to maintain a healthy well-being. So this will just summarize yung mga nabanggit yung mga ways. Okay. So for the physical, napakadaming paraan. No? You can simply exercise, eat nutritious food and healthy foods, drink a lot of water, at least 8 glasses of water a day. Take a bath daily. Ayan, nakakatulong yan, no? Okay? Have proper hygiene. Take a nap. Sleep at least 8 hours. So, wag magpupuyat. And find, look, or imagine a relaxing place or even a picture. And of course, do sports. Another physical activity then. So, that's under physical. What about naman emotional or social, no? Aspect naman. So, you can listen to music, do your favorite hobbies, no? Watch funny videos or movies. Ako ginagawa ko to. Play relaxing games. Ayan, make a journal or blog or vlog. Yan, no, yung nauuso ngayon. Release your emotions, no? Have a positive talk to yourself. Yan, importante yan. Learn to forgive. Ayan, it's a gift to yourself, not to others. Accept mistakes and learn from it. Support group people who can be there for you, especially in times of crisis. And talk to professionals like doctors or counselors if needed. Okay, what about the next aspect? For mental and spiritual naman, ayan, you can read books, you can think positive, you can manage your time or plan ahead of your activities, di ba, no? Pray to God, importante po yan. Be thankful, be grateful all the time, no? Learn to say no. Ayan, minsan yung nagiging cause ng stress natin, hindi tayo marunong tumanggi. And always know your value. Why, no? Kasi you are being created in the image of God and loved by God. So you should know your worth. Okay? What about naman ways on how to cope naman? Ito naman yung things that you need to be avoided when you are stressed. 'Di ba? So ano yung mga dapat iwasan kasi baka the more na makapag-add up lang no ng effects. So tobacco or cigarette, ayan, please. Huwag minigarilyo pag nai-stress. Ano pa? Iinom, alcoholic beverages. Lalo lang din nakakadagdag din yan, no? Pati physical. Kasakit ka pa kayo dyan sa tobacco and alcohol. And even the illegal drugs kasi ang unang tatamaan niyan ay yung kung paano ka mag-isip ng matama. And ito din, yung too much coffee or soft drinks, yan, nakakaano din yan, nakaka-upset din ng sikmura yan. And pinaka-last na kailangan i-avoid natin ay yung negative thoughts, yung pag-iisip ng mga negatibong bagay. Okay? Yan. For my question again, so why is coping with stress important? Ba't kailangan, no? Ba't gaano ka-importante na we are coping with different stresses in our lives? Okay, anyone from the group? Okay, so thank you so much. Ayan. So sabi nga, coping with stress is very significant, no, in middle and late adolescence since, no, in this stage, no, there is hormonal surge na tinatawag, no? Since, no, stress creates hormonal imbalances, no, as adolescents face different issues and expectations, even challenges and responsibilities, no, while handling its effects on their physical, emotional, and mental well-being. O, di ba, no? Kaya naman minsan nahihirapan kayong mag-deal, no? Ang dami ng challenges, ang dami ng expectations, ang dami ng issues, no? Nag-create pa si hormonal imbalances sa ating katawan, okay? And coping or managing stress is important because it will help you to keep moving amid the daily challenges as you are facing, no? So importante daw yung coping skills at managing our stresses kasi hindi ka pag-move on in your day-to-day basis kapag hindi ka makakope sa sitwasyon na 'yan. And with that, it will help you live a healthy mind and healthy being. Kaya napaka-importante yung coping skills natin when it comes to different stresses in our lives. Yan. So for the last note, I want you to remember that adapting the right attitude can convert a negative stress into positive one. So always have the right attitude for you to be able to convert daw yung negative stress into positive one. So think positive, have the right attitude, and turn your stresses into what? Positive one. Okay? So with that, what are your takeaways and how these takeaways could really help you improve yourself? Anyone from the group? Okay, thank you so much. Ayan. So with that, let me discuss the different activities that you are going to accomplish during our asynchronous times. Okay. So for activity number 1 naman, we call it sources and effects of stress. So I want you to think of a situation where you felt stressed. It can be good or bad. So ito yung eustress tsaka distress from the past week or past month. And I want you to identify them and place them under the different sources and factors and identify its effect. Ayan. So ito yung tinatawag nating sources of factors na discuss ko kanina. So per factor, you are going to, give a situation wherein naramdaman mo yung yung factor na to o yung source ng stress na yan under environmental. And what is the effect? Okay? Next, ganun din sa physical, academic, and emotional. Magbibigay ka ng situation applicable sa source or factor na to and tell us the effects. Okay, so that's activity number 1. Next. What about activity number 2? For this activity naman, ito yung my way of coping with stress. So kanina 'di ba natanong ko na naman kayo ng mga ilang mga pamamaraan for you to cope with stress. So this time naman, I want you to list down at least 5 ways on how you cope with stress. So simple lang po, ways lang po. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so moving on. And then for activity number 3 naman, we call it hugot line. Ayan, this is very familiar activity to all of you. Yan, so I want you to create one hugot line lang about dealing with stress and coping mental health. And I want you to be creative in illustrating it. So may example dito tayo sa screen, 'di ba Ayan. So hindi lahat na nagbabakasyon mapera. Yung iba gusto lang huminga, o 'di ba? That's their way of dealing with stress. So ganun lang. So be creative. Okay? And for activity number 4, ayan. So kindly answer the 5-item quiz in our last. And for activity number 5 naman, you are going to write your reflection regarding the topic that we discussed for week 5. Okay, so that's it. So I hope you will accomplish all the activities and you are going to turn in no, your activities in your Google Classroom, or you are going to submit that no, in our school. So with that, I see you next week, guys. Bye.